Good. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Lisa Ware, Senior Group Leader. 21 years plus now. That's a long time, isn't it? I think you get less than that for life, don't you? Anyway, today, as you probably gathered by the promotion, is all about personal development. All right, it's all about personal development. And today I'm basically going to start for what I call the lower end of the spectrum of newish people, but for the more established, I think some of this is going to be particularly really good at how you can introduce personal development to your team, because that's a vital thing. It's one thing to kind of already be engaged in developing yourself, but it's another thing to start new people off. Because do you ever get anyone, this is a rhetorical question, do you ever get anyone says, oh, I don't need any of that mumbo jumbo stuff? Well, do you know what, if they say that, they definitely need it. Okay, they really do. So here's a poignant statement. Okay, if someone could be on mute, it help. Someone's there and it's weird stuff going on. Right, lovely. Right, you are, wherever you are right now, as a result of the decisions that you've made and the attitude that you have. True? Yeah. I say it another way. You are the total sum of all your choices. Now that can either come and hit us like, oh my God, am I really? Is that why I am where I am? Because of all the decisions and the choices I've made so far in life. Or you might think, well, that's good. I am where I am because of the decisions and choices I've made. If you're the former one, then personal development is something that is absolutely needed. Okay, it's completely needed. I'm going to share my screen with something to show you all. You might even like to draw this yourself. A piece of paper divided equally into 4 quadrants. Okay, so let's do this. I'm going to show you 2. Excuse it's very rough, very basic. Right, so top left quadrant. I don't know what I don't know. And I put in brackets, help. And in other words, unknowingly ignorant. You know, when you don't know what you don't know, that's a really hard place to be. And it's scary because you don't know what you don't know. Very, very scary. And we want to try and help somebody move into, I know what I don't know. It's better. They start to become actively, knowingly ignorant. It's better to know what you don't know because you can make a start to move to what you should know. True? Now, what's the next stage? The next stage is this. Well, I don't know the things I should know. So in other words, you are unknowingly successful. You are incompetent, but you're getting there. And you want to move over to this final quadrant, which is, I now know what I should know. I'm competent or knowingly successful. And all this can happen through personal development. All right. Now, I'm going to share something with you. I am definitely not the same person I was when I began Utility Warehouse 21 plus years ago. And there's very little of me, if I'm honest, that's original. I think in writing, they call it plagiarism, don't they? So I guess I'm a plagiarist because I've bothered to read lots, listen to lots, and I suppose my brain is full of stuff that comes from very successful people in life. Does that make me somebody that's not worth listening to? Well, actually, I think I am worth listening to because I've gained a lot of knowledge from all the right people. So I'm now going to share another way. And this is something I learned so many years ago. And in fact, I can remember Steve and Val White being in the room when I did this, in Exeter, to be precise. So this is something Mr. Critch told me. Please excuse the drawing. I call this a belief stool. Imagine a stool. Imagine most stools have 3 legs, don't they? Some have 4. If you got knocked on your confidence when you first start out, and one of those beliefs got knocked off, you actually, the stool would topple over. In other words, we're really lacking competence. And when you lack competence, you don't have confidence. Yeah, that's basically it. So we've got to go from this. Now, don't laugh at the drawing, to this. A stool with hundreds and hundreds of great skills, knowledge, beliefs. And when you've got lots of that, if somebody knocks me a few times, it has no relevance to how competent and therefore confident I am I'm in the right thing. Now, where did all this stuff come from? Well, it came from personal development over the years. Okay, I'll come off of the share. Lots and lots of stuff. And you're probably thinking, how do you gain all this stuff? What do you do? Where do you go? Yeah. Well, you've got to start somewhere, and there are some good basic things. And I'm going to read you an excerpt of something I recommend to brand new people. Oops, hang on. Can you see that? Probably in the wrong way round. 79 network marketing tips by our very own NNL, Wes Linden. Okay. I'm going to read his little bit on personal development. He says, people join this type of business with many varied, rich and interesting backgrounds. Is that not true? Do we not bring people in and they have got a wealth of what you would call life and experience? However, in many cases, they are looking to make some changes and improvements in their lifestyle, which could lead us to assume that not everything has gone 100% up to plan at this point. This is not a criticism, simply an assumption based on many years' experience in the profession, and I appreciate it isn't always true in every case. Come on, I've brought in some really incredible people. In fact, there is a lady on here right now, Mel, and she's a solicitor. You will say an experienced professional. There's lots of you. I know your different backgrounds. The only thing is, sometimes doing what we've always been told to do at school, at college, and I'm going to share with you, I was rather swayed by my teachers to move into the artistic side of the world. I could naturally draw and paint, and I had a lot of artistic skills, and I was pushed that way. Now, that's not really careers advice, is it? It's just saying, carry on doing something you're quite good at. Does that really make to be able to make a living? Are we all agreed these days that often what we've learned as we've got older is the stuff that we were taught in school is not necessarily the things that are going to help us in life? They don't teach us how to grow vegetables, how to cook them. They don't teach us how to look after a home, how to do budgeting on bills. They don't teach us, here's the big one, how to build rapport and communicate with people, which is the most fundamental thing that we need to get on in life. They don't teach you that stuff. They teach you Pythagoras' theorem. Is there anyone here that's ever used it? I haven't. What was good was percentages and fractions and my basic times table. I've managed to use that in life, but there was so much of what I was taught was of just no use to me at all. And what I've learned, and I'm passing this on, since coming into utility warehouse, which I didn't realize at the beginning, I joined a network marketing business. What I've learned is far much more that has helped me in life than ever I learned at school. Now that's incredible, isn't it? How many years do we spend at school? How many years do you carry on into further education and all of that? And I have got a wealth of qualifications. Do you know what? I don't need any of them to do this. Isn't that fascinating? So personal development and the stuff that we learn through this business is absolutely fabulous. And I've heard many leaders say it's a personal development business that's kind of wrapped up around a network marketing business. So true, yeah. What else does Wes say in this? He says, people spend a lot of money on their car, servicing, improving, cleaning inside and out. They spend lots of money on their hair with regular visits to the stylist or barber and using products daily. And this can work out to be quite expensive if you look at it over a year. Oh, I don't want to add mine up, okay? However, some people will balk at the thought of spending the same on a book or a CD, which will help their mindset and attitude to ensure they're in the right place and build the type of business in their spare time. If they spent as much on this as they did their other habits, my gosh, they do well. He says, people say I haven't got time. Well, actually, we have. Listen to this. If you spent just reading 10 pages a day of a personal development book, let's say reading, it might be listening, it doesn't matter. Over the course of a year, that would be over 3,500 pages, which probably amounts to about 25 to 35 books. How incredible is that? Now, in my early years, I applied that because I kept thinking, I haven't got time for this. And I'll now share this. If I try and read at night, I've only got to get into the first page, I fall asleep. So I can't do it at night. So I had to find the time that was right for me. And it was always first thing in the morning when I wake up and I'm alert. Now I do things a bit different because I've listened to other people and they're right. You can multi-skill these days because we've got all kinds of things like we can listen to iPods and podcasts. And so when I go out walking, sometimes I'm listening to something over from my mobile phone. How good is that? There really is no reason why people haven't got time. They just don't make time. Okay. He says something here as well, which I think is really interesting. Please take this on board. Ultimately, unless you're a footballer, a dancer, or an artiste, we are all on minimum wages from the neck down. Think about that. So whatever you can do to develop your mindset, your attitude and thinking is going to help you towards success. Now, look, that's just a few lines out of that book. What a wonderful book. And I'll tell you why I'm recommending this one, because it doesn't have to be read chronologically. You don't have to start at the beginning and go through. You can dip in and out at any part of it. It is tips and it's really good. And it's very good for us leaders because he then gives a leader's tip at the bottom. So if there's not much money in the kitty, this is a great one. And if you're really serious about being a leader, I've bought some of these, and what I do is I lend them out. I lend them out. Now, I've learned the hard way, don't give them away. I promise you, there's no value. They don't bother to read them. And I've done that in the past and learned from Lisa's mistakes. Lend them out and say to them, when you've finished, let me know. I'd love your thoughts and what you like best on it, what will happen? They will read it and study it better. So that's the first one I really, really recommend. Okay, you heard me talking about a couple of things. Here's another one. It's quite an oldie, but it gives them an insight into the network marketing industry. It's Ed Ludbrook's 100% Confidence. It's a real goodie about the whole of the network marketing arena. Because I don't know if you're aware, folks, that we in the network marketing industry actually we are bigger than the film industry and loads and loads and loads of other industries. It's huge what we do. It's absolutely enormous. Okay, so what else would I recommend? Well, there's some real basics. Now, I do give this away. I've bought these in their droves. So I'm going to take my virtual background off because, do you know what? It causes problems. Sorry, guys, it's my boring background now. There we are. The good old, tremendous Jim Rohn, Building Your Network Marketing Business. By the way, you don't have to have it on CD these days. It's on podcast. In fact, I actually think you can get onto it, if I'm right, through YouTube for free. All right. But any new person, please ask them to listen to this. It's really, really good. So what else do I recommend for brand new people? Well, again, funny enough, aren't we lucky? We have some really, really incredible leaders. There's another gentleman called Stephen Longworth. He too is an NNL, and he's written 3 books now. Now, one of mine that he's written is just out on loan to somebody, okay? But there was 2 that he started with, and they're really good, and they're called the Impact System. There's Impact System 1 and 2, all right? And what makes these particularly good, he's actually written it kind of for us in our business. That makes it really relevant. And what I like about Steph, he'll tell you himself, he's dyslexic. Isn't that good? He's written a book and he's dyslexic. Actually, he's got people to help him, as you would, yeah? But I like the fact that he's written it very simply, very straightforward, because we don't want complex, do we? You know, some people love words and they'll use big words where sometimes smaller words can suffice. Yeah. And I like the fact that these books are very, very easy to read. And I'm going to tell you now, some of these, I can devour them in a couple of hours. All right. Because they're that easy to be able to digest. Now, what else would I recommend if you were going to say, right, well, I'm starting off and I haven't really got into personal development? Well, there's all sorts of stuff, but I'm going to hold up a whole wad here, a whole wad. And these are all by Tom Schreiter, known as Big Al. I've actually got everything of his on CDs, his whole works, and I've now got it all on a stick for the car. Anybody else found that these flipping modern cars, they don't give you CD players anymore, do they? You've got to be a bit of a techo expert and, you know, download it and all this stuff. But anyway, Big Al is just amazing. Now, what's the #1 Big Al book that we all know, and it's just so good? It's the Personality. Yes, colours. Because I think if there was any skill set that ever in my entire, I'll call it UW career, I remember the very first time that I was encouraged to drive to Heathrow Airport to the Novotel Hotel, and it was to come and listen to a chap who was very small. He looked like a nerd, and he went under the name of Big Al. And in fact, he wasn't at all big, was he? He's actually quite petite, and he's actually got a very grumpy looking face until he puts on this smile. And what I love about Tom Schreiter is he's a very sincere man, and he doesn't rip people off. Everything he does at minimum cost, which is absolutely fabulous, unlike some in the industry. And I went along with my then late husband, along with a few others that were encouraged by Steve Critchley to go. And I have to say, I've never been quite so entertained in all my life. I never laughed so much. And they say that laughter, and when you laugh, you bring out what they call the good endorphins, yeah, which makes you feel good. And actually, we actually take in things better when we're happy. And think about that, that's true. And he's written it in such a funny way. I love the way he does it. But what he's basically doing is spelling out that all of us have got basic traits, personality traits, and they could be divided into 4 colours. And we're all mostly one colour with a little bit of maybe some of the others. And when you get to understand these personality traits, what happens when you meet people, and it gets to the point when you get very good at it, it doesn't happen naturally in the beginning, but when you get very good at it, I find every new person I ever meet, I'm playing this game and I'm deciding what colour are they? What's their personality? And in fact, Juan has said he loves it. He's absolutely into it. And he's deciding when he meets people now, what personality are they? And it is great fun. But what's the reason for wanting to know? The reason is, if you can decide and you know what kind of person you've got in front of you, a prospect, instead of building what I call blocks of confrontation, you can build actually rapport. And when you build rapport, it means you're in line with each other and they're more willing to listen to you and they're actually going to be engaged with you. And you've got a much better chance of bringing them into this business, whether it's a customer or a partner. Now, today, I've been mega busy interviewing, as I call it. And when I interview, what I'm doing is asking lots of questions. And here's the next big book. Let me find it, because I've got it all here. I've been doing it. It is, where is it? Alan Pease. Alan Pease, Questions of the Answers. I'll put it down somewhere. I've got that many books around me. Hang on. Here's the other big one. Questions of the Answers, Alan Pease. By asking lots of questions, you get to learn about people. There are some that say, be interested, not interesting. Okay, now that's a big point to make. We all in the beginning are enthusiastic and we want to basically verbally diarrhea, over people with our enthusiasm for what we've got. And we tend to talk too much. And in fact, if we can ask questions, we'll find out about them. They'll be chatting away about their favorite subject, which is them. All right. And straight away, they're going to say to you, wow, they're thinking this. They're a nice person that I've got in front of me. And in fact, psychologists have tested this out. They've actually tested it out. And a gentleman got on a plane and sat next to a lady going from London to New York, a long journey, about 11 hours. And he barely said a single thing. And this woman obviously wanted to talk, and all he did was ask questions. He knew all about her, and she knew nothing about him, nothing. When they got to the other side, she was stopped and she was asked, oh, what did you think of the gentleman that was sat next to you? And she raved about him. And she didn't know anything because she'd been talking about her favourite subject, but he knew all about her. So I would have said, if he'd wanted to prospect her for a network marketing company, he probably had her like that. So what I've done is said to you, there's a few basics here. Here's another good one. Ever so small, very cheap, Roy Shepherd, Meet, Greet and Prosper. That could be read in under an hour. I promise you, it's really good. Very, very good. There's all sorts of stuff. There's masses here, but I can't do it all in half an hour because it's such a big subject. A top tip: join Knowledge is King. If you type that into a URL address bar, it will come up. Paul King, that runs it, is all about personal development, and you can get hold of all sorts in all kinds of formats: written word, sticks, CDs, and what have you. What's the other things that help us develop? Well, I would say it's going to events, turning up at the local buzz. Yeah. Because sometimes you pick up a little gem. One in the early days, Mr. Critchley was always saying to me, Lisa, go everywhere. Go everywhere. Go to every, we used to call them opportunity presentations. Go to them and look out for somebody you've heard that's successful and ask for a top tip. I know there are far too many people that because of this Zoom thing, they don't bother anymore, and actually you're missing a trick. Lindsay comes a long way now. You come in, you're amazing, Lindsay. I see you growing all the time. And he comes to the Bournemouth Buzz. I know he goes to the Southampton one. And do you know what? You pick up information off other people, which is absolutely valuable. So look, I've skirted round a subject. I've got loads of stuff here. I'm going to next week continue this because I want to move on to the more developed stuff, because there's some really good things. Some of us here that have been around the block a bit know about Eric Worre and GoPro. Some good things there. An absolutely amazing book, Simon Sinek's Start With Why. I started that on a UW holiday. Oh, I didn't want to go anywhere, even though it was all being paid for, because I got so engrossed in this. It was one of those that I couldn't put down. There's some big stuff we're going to talk about. Stuff that's the wider issue. The Cash Flow Quadrant, Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. You know, there's some amazing books, and people out there. Do you know what? There's no reason at all to be ignorant anymore. There just isn't. There is so much to help us. And I think it's a great pity that our educational system doesn't link into this stuff early on. Could you imagine, ladies and gentlemen, imagine your children if they were exposed to this stuff from about the ages of 10, 11. Oh, wow. Wouldn't they have a fantastic chance in life? Yeah. So I've kind of hit stuff. I mean, there's all sorts of things here. How to get appointments without rejection. You know, there's the Fentons, Go for No, and all of that. There's loads of stuff. But what I wanted to do was focus on the reasons why and some stuff to really get you going. Would you like to unmute? And is there any questions that anybody wants to ask me?
What was, Lisa, the Steph's new book? What's that one called?
His very latest, which he was kind of promoting at the Midlands kickoff, is Lift Off. I think it's called. Yeah. Sorry, I've lent it out.
Thank you. That's all.
I'm always lending stuff out all the time, but I do get the stuff back. It's really important. The other, the big one, which is Tom Schreiter, The Colour Personalities. I've actually just lent that out to a lady that's, here we are. She's fairly new, really, and she's now recruiting incredibly. And that's a lady called Elaine Feller. And interesting as well. She's another one of those teachers. I don't know if you realised, if you went to the Midlands kickoff and I saw the virtual kickoff, I was astonished at the number of teachers joining this profession. People that they are really, a lot of them tell me they're so hacked off with what they're being asked to actually deliver in the curriculum. They actually are beginning to say, I don't agree with it anymore. Is this actually servicing our children for a future to help them? And we now know all these years later, well, actually, it isn't. It's really sad. And I am like desperately saying to my daughter, let's homeschool, because I really sort of think that, because I think there's so much more we can give to people. I mean, let's take our backgrounds here. I know lots of us, we've all got a lot of skills and expertise in our past lives. And I got up to inspector in the police, and I was a manager for a major firm, which is now called Live Victoria. I ran what was called the recovery department. I got on quite well, but I look back and I'm sharing this. I always felt like a square peg in a round hole, and I didn't know why. And now I know why, because actually I was striving to better myself. I didn't realize I had an entrepreneurial basis in me. And share this. Is this not true? Police, it's true as well. You are given orders and you're told what to do. And you are not paid to question.
Yeah.
And actually, shouldn't we question everything so that we continue to learn? Yeah. And I look back, and when I think about my time at Frizzell, I had this meteoric rise in my career, so the directors said. But one of the things that was said as I was leaving, my leaving do, Lisa never accepted anything, always questioned everything, and we didn't always agree on everything, but it certainly helped the company. Now, wouldn't that have been something that surely they must have realized there was something in there, At one time, I share this, I was the only person that could do what was called the company write-off for 2 years. And I remember going to the directors and saying to them, this is not good that I'm the only person that knows how to do this. Because if I'm ill or something, what's going to happen? This is knowledge that should be shared and duplicated. Hey, when I say that now, I'm like, well, all we're doing is trying to duplicate, aren't we, skills?
Yeah.
So I actually say to myself, I think this is a wonderful business. I absolutely love it. I am so, I suppose, full of gratitude that I've been exposed to all this, and I want to share it with other people. I really do. So look, guys, some of you are going to be back this evening. Wow, about 3 of you are back this evening. God, you've not been hit hard enough yet. Wait till you see what's going on at 8 o'clock, guys. All right, I've got some really good stuff lined up for you. I hope that you'll think so, because I really want to help develop you. I don't want to keep it all to myself, the things that have been passed to me. And share this with your teams. Share this stuff. Well, I've formed a group called Senior Team Leaders to Group Leaders.
Okay, right? Never mind. I'll qualify for that sooner or later. Yeah, okay, fine. Okay.
You will, Lindsay. I know you'll get there. All right.
Okay. Okay.
Right, guys. We'll have to call it a halt, otherwise we'll get told off that we've overlapped. Please, I'm going to share the last bit of advice. Whatever you're doing on Thursday, the 8th of February, which is the second Thursday in the month, it's the Bournemouth Buzz. Come along. And don't just go to the Bournemouth one, go to some others as well, because it's not all about for new recruits. It's very much now changed about supporting the partners. And if a recruit happens to come along, I think they're usually quite mind blown because what we're doing is we're introducing some really good stuff to help the partners. All right. And whatever you normally do, ask yourself this one big question. What you would normally do on that night, is it going to continue to pay your mortgage? Is it going to benefit you? Whatever it is you're doing, will it improve you? If the honest answer is no, come along, because I promise you, whatever you pick up will help. All right, guys.
Well, the we also have the Chesterfield one, if you're up north near me. The Chesterfield one's the same night, so I'll be at the Chesterfield buzz, not the Bournemouth one.
And I think you'll be there. I know that Helen Linford is very kind. She takes Elaine Feller along because Elaine, obviously, as you know, is waiting for a life-saving operation, and she goes along for that. Yeah, lovely to see you all, guys. Take care.
See you later, Lisa.
See you next week. Bye bye.